Well, time now for a look at what's making the headlines in media around the world. And for our International Press Review, I'm joined on set by Caterina Vittozzi. Hello, Caterina.
Hello.
Now, of course, everybody's talking about Michelle Obama's speech at the Democratic National Convention, but there's another character making headlines today.
Absolutely. If you're reading any of the Spanish language press in the United States today, there's one name in all the headlines, that of Julian Castro. He's the 37-year-old mayor of San Antonio in Texas, and as we can see, this is the top headline in Viva El Hoy, which is a Spanish-speaking publication in Chicago. They say, is this the new Barack Obama for US Latin Americans, for the Hispanic community? Cynics say that, the fact that he gave the keynote speech, maybe that's just a way for the Democrat Party to appeal to this enormous Hispanic community in the United States. But it's also a very important speech for him to give. Can you guess? Got a little riddle for you now.
Okay,
Can you guess who gave this same keynote speech in 2004 at the Democrat convention?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to say no.
Oh, great. That means I get to reveal it. It was, in fact, Barack Obama. So this is it's quite an interesting pick. So, is this the Democrat Party sort of picking their next candidate for 4 years' time, this Julian Castro? In the interview with Viva El Hoy, he says, when asked if he was going to be the first Hispanic president of the United States, he sort of shunned off and said, oh, let's not talk about that now.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was chosen to give this keynote speech is perhaps quite a clear indication of what the Democrats have up their sleeve.
Could be a hint of things to come.
Absolutely.
Now, has there been any reaction to the convention from outside of the United States in addition to the Spanish press?
Absolutely. There's been plenty, in fact, from Israeli media. This has been a top headline across a lot of media there. Front page of the Jerusalem Post talk about a very important change for them to the Democrat platform. Now, this is the omission of text that says that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. Now, why this is particularly pointed is that if you remember a couple of weeks ago, the Republican candidate Mitt Romney was in Israel, and he made a real point of saying, I'm so moved to be here in Jerusalem, the capital of Israel. And then a couple of days ago, or last week, in fact, at the Republican convention, again, he made a very clear point, bringing Israel into this election campaign, saying Barack Obama, his words, in fact, were he's thrown Israel under a bus. So Romney bringing Israel into the US election campaign, and in fact, in an editorial piece in the Jerusalem Post, they say, don't do that. Don't make Israel a wedge issue in the US election. They say Israel doesn't want to be a bargaining chip. We don't want this to have to create this sort of polarized, you're a supporter or an opponent of Israel. Let us just sort of sit in the middle ground. You carry on with your election over there.
Leave us out of it.
Leave us out of it. Once you've elected a leader, then let's negotiate. But at the moment, we'd like to stay out of it, according to the Jerusalem Post, of course.
But of course, Jewish voters are such a key electorate for both Romney and Obama, and that's why they're doing this.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Now, staying with the Middle East, Ket, you've also looked at a story from within a Syrian refugee camp in Jordan.
Yeah, these are journalists from the International Herald Tribune went into a refugee camp talking to Syrian children. This is a camp in Jordan, and it's a really emotional article, quite troubling to read. They spoke to children of 11 and 12 years age who were saying things like, we hate Alawites, we want to kill them, we want to use knives. This really aggressive, really violent language. And what is also quite troubling, according to the journalists, they say, as the children were saying this, they were surrounded by adults and their parents who were encouraging them. And if, in fact, we've seen the UN envoy to Syria saying, it's the people who are the future of Syria. If this is the children saying this, it makes you wonder how on earth are we going to have a future which is inclusive, cohesive, exactly, and draws all these separate factions together.
Oh, it's never good to hear children using words like that in any circumstance.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Caterina Vittozzi, there with our International Press Review.